I made another cast into the productive riffle.
Ah, a wave just killed it. Yeah, I couldn't drop my line. Had to keep holding it up the whole time. Yeah. There it is. Oh, that's a big one. Gosh. Oh, yeah.
Welcome and thanks for clicking our video. This is a detailed strategy on how we caught fish on this Yellowstone River tributary in July. Stick around. We had heard about this Yellowstone tributary through YouTube videos, friends, other resources, fishing reports, things like that. So we kind of had an idea where we were going. Then, of course, we used Google, just like you see here, but I would zoom in and look at the area. You can see on this map that Matiti, that's where we stayed, was kind of in the center of this. It gives you an idea of the general area where we were fishing. But I would zoom in on the area, and I had an area of the river that we're fishing, about maybe a 2 to 3 mile section that looked really good, that looked like we could get access to by road and walking. When we got there, we discovered that the road was rougher than we thought, going as far in as we wanted to, so we stopped short. And also the river was pretty low, so we felt like the bottom section that we got to, about a 3/4 mile section of the river, had enough water that we would give it a try. And we just thought, we'd try this section. If we didn't get anything, we'd go somewhere else. The first hole we came to, a likely spot, gave it a try. We caught some fish, so that motivated us, and we ended up spending the rest of the day there, had a great day of fishing. This is the first hole that we came to. And it doesn't look like a lot. This is a pretty low river at this point, which, we just kind of had to look for places that we thought would hold fish. This one kind of showed itself to us, which was nice. You can see there's an area over here. This whole side of this is a back eddy that comes, the currents flowing like this all the way around and kind of back in, and then you can see all this white foam is where a lot of the insects and things settle, and that's kind of a spot where fish can rest. And there were fish rising in there, so it gave us an automatic clue. We saw bugs on the water, we saw fish rising, didn't see anything really big, but again, it gave us a chance to try. It was a little bit of a difficult approach. If you tried to get fish coming with flies coming this way, you kind of had to do a float cast and let it drop right down to them, and it was difficult to get a good drift. This one over here was probably the easiest. You could put a cast right into here, and it would float through here, and we caught some fish in that area. It was a little bit of a tough spot, but the fish weren't really big. We ended up catching a couple, and then moved to a different side of the hole.
Wow, that was right. Oh, little guy.
Got him.
Pretty cool.
Yep, that was a pretty cool take. Not saying it's a big cut, but it was a lot of fun on that dry fly. It's a beautiful colored fish. Not a big cutthroat by any stretch, but beautiful colored, fun take. There she goes. That was fun. We were seeing some fish rising in this little hole. I tried the ant a couple times. I didn't have much luck, but I did have a couple hits. So we switched to the mayfly, and that one took. They're still rising out there.
All right, here you can see we switched to the other side of the river to see if we could get a better drift to some of these fish. Remember, the current comes down. There's a back eddy that comes around. This direction brings water, circling around the back eddy and flies, and then they kind of would pile up in here. But fish were rising right in this area, so Ladin would cast, keep his rod tip up fairly high, drift it down into here, and hopefully get some strikes in here. And then it was a little easier, actually, believe it or not, over all of this current still, to get to this as well. And then the other benefit we found is once we got up here, we could see, hey, this is a pretty good little pocket right here, too. So we started hitting that afterwards.
There we go. Nice. Nice one. It's a good fish.
It's not bad. I mean, it's about a little 8-9 incher. I slid the cutthroat toward the net.
Yeah. Got it. What a nice trout.
You can see here a view from the other side and this pocket that we discovered, which actually turned out to be a lot better pocket. So it was a little tough, again, to get a drift because you had to hold over this fast water. We didn't want to go, we did eventually come up into here a little bit, but early on we didn't want to come up in this area to cast. We were worried about spooking the fish, so we tried from right where Ladin is, getting a nice cast down into this pocket. And really the current is all coming off in all these directions. And you can see right in here, it all kind of pockets up a little bit, slows down. That's where a lot of fish were. We did get several strikes right in this area too, where fish were a little more actively feeding and would come up and take those flies. And even down into here, I think we got a couple to come up to dries. One of the biggest fish that we hooked into, as you can imagine, was right tucked over against this dark, shady area. So we just worked to this area, trying to get the best drift that we could. Most of the time, the better drift, natural drift we could get, or the longer we could keep the fly sitting in the pocket with a natural drift, the more we got strikes and the better the fish that we got. And like I said, we'll show you probably a picture later on of when we moved up into this area. We kind of, thought, okay, we've fished it enough, we'll sneak up into this and see if it doesn't matter if we're there or not. But early on, we tried all from this side, and we did manage to catch quite a few fish and get quite a few strikes out of this little pocket right here.
I made another cast into the productive riffle.
A wave just killed it. Yeah, I couldn't drop my line. Had to keep holding it up the whole time. Yeah. There it is. Oh, that's a big one.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Nice job. That's a big fish.
It is a big fish. Boy. Steve, I see him. He's close. It's huge. Ah!
Oh. Yeah, get him. Nice. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Folks, I'm telling you, this is just a gorgeous, big.
Look at that fish.
Size of that thing. A little mayfly.
Wow. The last hole that we fished was right up in here, just a little above that. So we just moved down, saw another little pocket of water. And once you start catching fish in a river or creek or whatever, and you start seeing that there are fish holding in just about any spot that looks likely, then you start hitting them all. A lot of times, if we get into a river and there's likely looking water, don't catch any fish, a lot of times we'd skip right over this pocket. But because we had done well above, we hit this pocket, and there wasn't much here. You can see there's a lot of fast water coming right along here. And then there's just this little pocket of deep seam water right through there. And then this got pretty shallow. And we did, I got several strikes from a fish that would come out from this, kind of from under this deep water and take a fly right in here. But I was never able to hook them up. Don't know how, it didn't look huge, but it looked like a decent trout. So it had to come out so fast to grab it and go back. It never did manage to hook up on my fly. But cool little spot.
I think that's probably it. That was a decent fish.
Yeah, that's too bad.
3 or 4 strikes, but man, they don't have much time to take it, so.
Yeah.
A couple of things about this, just continuing on with the theme that we tried every little pocket that we could. It's not much, but just on the outside of this faster water and pretty thin water, there's a nice little section that looks like it slows down and deepens up. So I was just trying to pop my fly into there. Also at this time, I believe I had done this after the first hole, towards the end of the first hole when we stopped getting many fish on a dry. I had added a little emerger mayfly, a little mayfly nymph on as a dropper. And I can't remember if I put it on the mayfly on a different rig, but this fish happened to be caught on that little emerger pattern I used as a dropper. And if you watch the video, you'll see I just kind of flip it over into there, get it over on the other side, let it drift, and this fish takes it fairly quickly right away after I get my flies in there. And again, just a fun little pocket, not a big fish here, but it was cool to get the fly in there, get a take right away, and get a nice little brookie.
Of course, there has to be a tree right above it.
Yeah. Nice.
Little guy.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I liked my cast for a first try. Oh, he took the nymph.
Wow.
Cool, took the nymph. That's nice. I live a little mayfly emerger on there. Not really a nymph, I guess, but boy, I tell you what, it's hard to land a fish in this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a brookie. Yeah, brook trout, lad.
Cool.
Scrappy little spots on them.
So this is a shot from a little later in the day. We had fished downriver from that original hole, and then we kind of decided, let's go try some different water. So we went downriver further, got in the car, went downriver, hiked in a little bit, and started working our way upstream, kind of towards the area that we had been before. Just wanted to try something different. And the first place we came upon was this hole, and I don't even know if you can call it a hole. It's more of a run, I guess. You've definitely got fast water coming in, and then you can see right in here it starts slowing down. I don't know, I mean, it's not like slow, but you can see that it's slower, a little deeper. It's faster out here still, pretty, you know, not rough current, but you can see that there's a little more to the current over there, probably a little faster. So we tried a few with dry flies here, and then I think Ladden suggested that we try a nymph in it just to see if there's anything that wouldn't come up for the dry fly. So we put a dropper under a fat Albert that had caught a fish before, so that's a kind of an antish beetle pattern, pretty good sized fat Albert, and put a dropper under that with a little caddis nymph, and the fish hit the caddis nymph on pretty much the first cast. I think I landed the flies right about in here. It went just a few feet and stopped. So the fish was holding right in here somewhere. Had a good fight. I don't think we caught another fish out of here. I'm not sure. Sometimes when you have a pretty good fight with a big fish, you can disturb an area and other fish won't bite. Other times, it's just that there's one big fish in this spot and they'll chase out all the other little fish. So not really sure. It looks like there's good enough water to hold more fish, but for whatever reason, that's the only one we caught out of there.
There it is. Nice fish.
Good.
Oh, it's a good fish. Oh my gosh, it's a really big fish, Ladden.
Wow.
It is a really big fish.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah, it's a big fish.
Oh, yeah. Keep him going upstream is good.
Yeah. I'm going to try and net him if he goes by. Boy, unbelievable. Put on a little caddis nymph under a hopper pattern, kind of a tractor red hopper.
Oh
he
my
hit it
gosh.
right away. I can't believe that fish is in this river.
Get it?
Oh, I missed him. Where'd he go? Wow, look at that fish go. That is something else. Ah, don't get me snagged in there. Got him. I got him.
You got him?
I got him. Look at the size of that
gosh.
fish. Can you believe that fish is in this river?
Wow.
Oh my goodness. That is a monster cutthroat. Maybe 20?
Maybe.
18, 20,
Wow.
somewhere in there? Really, wow. Yeah, that was so cool how he wanted to go tuck back into that bank.
I wanted to show you this shot because we came back to the same hole that we fished at the first hole. We came back in the evening, which is something that we often do, especially if we find a good hole. We'll leave it for several hours or even a half a day and then come back to it and give it a try. And you can see we fished this same water where we caught some nice fish, the riffle running down into it, the little pocket. And you can see this fish is fighting right in. I was trying really hard to get a fly under this bush. It was difficult to get one. Got snagged up a couple times to drop one right in there so it could float along this edge. And there were fish lying close there. And those seem to be the bigger fish that we hooked into. So just wanted to show you this shot and show the fish that we caught here.
That's a good fish. That's a good one.
Cool.
That's a good fish, Ladin. Good enough to actually stay in there
Boy,
and take a
that's
little
big
bit of
one.
line. Boy, I gotta keep him up in there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a good fish. It's a good fish.
That is huge.
Yeah, it's a nice one. Look at that thing.
Oh, it's huge.
I missed him.
Oh.
Came loose, but I got him. Look at that fish.
Here's the fly that we used most often throughout the day to catch our fish. It's a parachute Adams with an elk hair caddis, it looks like, tail. Kind of a standard, parachute mayfly. We did use different versions throughout the day. Most of them were a size 16 mayfly pattern of some sort. You can see the tippet on here doesn't look particularly thin, I believe. For the most part, we were using 4X and 5X tippet. Small stream, so, just your standard 9-foot 5-weight fly rod. You certainly could go lower than that, although there are some big fish in here, so probably just the 4X, 5X is a good way to go. And then if you do any nymphing, maybe even 3X or 4X tippet for the... Well, that'll do it. Thanks for watching this detailed strategy. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell so you get notification of the next video. We'll catch you later.